Okay, I'm back, Biff. Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I gotcha. Okay. That works. Okay. Okay. That'll work. It'll work.
Trusts.
The new year is here, and so are the new Toyotas. So visit your dealer and reserve yours today. Like the all-new Tundra, redesigned from the ground up and engineered for uncompromising power. Or explore the brand new Corolla Cross with available all-wheel drive and more cargo room than ever. Visit your Toyota dealer today or go online to buyatoyota.com, the official website for deals. Hurry, offers end January 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
More live and local programming than anyone else in the Ohio Valley. The Watchdog returns in moments.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly cloudy, a few raindrops, and a couple of snowflakes. Daytime high near 43. Better chance of seeing those snowflakes mixing in with some rain through the evening and the overnight. With a low in the low 30s, you'll see mostly cloudy skies around for your Friday, with highs in the upper 30s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
On FM, on AM, online, on demand, and on video. We are where you are. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe is here now.
And temperature dropping just a little bit, as it tends to do as the sun comes up. 36 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 34 here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 33 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley, with a little bit of light wind blowing around the feels like, well, actually not much feels like temperature at all. Let me double check the airport. Well, at the airport, the 36 feels like 30, but down here in the valley, the temperatures are what they are. So mid-30s for the day, up to around 43, as you heard, with maybe some rain coming in a little bit later on today. Where are we going and what are we doing today? Governor Justice continues treatment for COVID as his major economic development projects were announced yesterday, although he was not around to do them. State House reporter Brad McElhenney up in a minute or two to tell us more about that. We are going to go inside politics a bit later on today with a political insider, Emmy-winning reporter, former Congresswoman Marjorie Margolis. She happens to also be Hillary Clinton's sister-in-law. She is an advocate for children, has a new book out, her latest of 4, called How Are the Children? We'll talk about the children of the world that she worries about. Got some updates on a couple of local stories I want to get into. Senator Manchin told NPR he still will not vote to eliminate the filibuster, but he did outline some of what he thought he might consider if those things come to fruition. And Biff and I later on this morning will step aside for a while to offer a paid political program on the voting rights bill being considered on Capitol Hill. So that's some of what we've got coming up for you. What have you got coming up for me? 304-214-1600. 304-214-1600 is the Watchdog Radio Network text line. You can also use the CityNet hotline, 304-232-8255. Although political news is a big story of the day, a lot of what's going on down in Charleston, we are also spending our time, as we so often do, talking about food. And this morning, I've just kind of been jonesing for a donut. I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. It just sort of popped into my head this morning at 7 o'clock. Felt like a donut. So I've been asking where are the best places to get donuts here in the upper Ohio Valley. Dunkin' Donuts is being built in Moundsville, but not done yet. What was the place that Aaron was telling us? Too Sweet? Someplace over in Martins Ferry, Biff? I forget the name.
Tina's.
He said now. Tina's. Okay. I'm not familiar with that place, so that's it. Dunkin' Donuts is in the area, just not in the Wheeling area yet, although I wouldn't be surprised if we used to have one in Center Market. Don't have one there anymore. Tim Hortons, I think Biff suggested that's a possibility. They do have donuts there. I like that. The grocery stores all have them. Respecs, Kroger, Walmart, you can get them there. And several of you have been suggesting the food trucks. I've heard of the Holy Roller food truck before. Holy Rollers are donuts. It's a food truck around town. And there is one which I'd never heard of until you all just told me about it on the text line. So Nuts for Donuts. I love that name. That's great. It's a great name. So Nuts for Donuts. It's a donut truck that apparently, let's see, according to this text off the text line, So Nuts for Donuts was across from John Marshall yesterday. Some of their unique donuts are eggnog and chocolate peppermint. I'm trying to think. I like chocolate peppermint in some things. I don't know if I want a chocolate peppermint donut or not. What do you think, Biff?
I'd try them
That makes
both.
Would you? I think eggnog might be interesting. Eggnog donut, chocolate peppermint. I like a basic glaze. I mean, I really do. I like, cream filled. Always good. Cream filled with chocolate on top. Really good. When I say really good, I don't mean good for me, or my health, or my weight, or my heart. I just mean they sound like they'd be good to eat. So, anyways, looking for donut suggestions this morning. 304-214-1600. 304-214-1600. And please let me know. Is this really a place? Bite Me Bakery in Center Wheeling? This sounds like a joke. Really? The Bite Me Bakery? The Bite Me Bakery in Center Market by Vocelli's. Okay. There is a bakery there, I know. I've never been there, but every time we drive past it, my wife says, I want to see that bakery. We usually drive by late in the afternoon, and they're closed, and she always says, so maybe that's it, Bite Me Bakery? I guess that's a clever title, I guess. I guess that's it. Anyway, for reasons beyond my ken, we're talking about donuts this morning, so if you have any good donut suggestions, let me know. So Nuts for Donuts, Holy Roller Food Truck, Bite Me Bakery. I learn something new every day, Biff. Every day. I learn something new. All right, 8:16 on the Thursday edition of our Watchdog Morning Show. Let's talk about what's happening in Charleston, and to help us do that, as always, or as frequently at least, our State House reporter for Metro News, Brad McElhenney. Brad is here. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Howard.
Are you a donuts kind of guy?
I was warned before coming off that we're talking donuts today. I like donuts, and I like donut holes, because that makes you feel
Yeah,
like,
I like
well,
those too.
I'm not eating the whole donut. I'm having 12 donut holes.
And it's environmentally good because you're saving waste. I mean, otherwise that would be waste. The donut hole would be waste, right?
Oh, yeah. You're eating the whole donut, not just
Right.
the outer
Exactly.
ring. Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you
pro
can feel,
donut.
environmentally isn't right, but you can feel somehow ethically you're using all the parts of the donut. I like that. Where do you get donuts in Charleston?
Yeah, I was going to say, Krispy Kreme is fine, good donuts, but you can get Krispy Kreme practically anywhere.
Yeah.
Normally, if you were looking for local donuts, Donut Connection, which is in Kanawha City, might be the place you would go. Good coffee there too. Coffee's an important part of this balanced diet.
Oh yes.
So those are the two that I would suggest.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I heard you
I'm
had
down there. So
you had some clever names for donut places there.
yeah, I guess we have and I'm not familiar with this, and we have I knew we had a couple of donut food trucks up here. One of them, the Holy Rollers. I've known that one. I like that one. But the one I just heard today is the So Nuts for Donuts. I like that.
Oh,
that's pretty clever.
Rolls off
And
the
I'm still
tongue.
trying to figure out if this is a joke that someone texted me or not. The Bite Me Bakery. I mean, it could be a clever name, or that could just be somebody trying to joke me. I don't know. The Bite Me Bakery.
I think you're going to have to take a field trip just to ascertain its validity.
I believe, sometimes purely for research purposes, I have to go out and do these kinds of things. So I might. Hey, what do we know with the governor? Is he getting better, worse, or about the same, or do we know anything at all?
Yeah, I haven't heard a morning update, but there was probably a less detailed evening update that went out yesterday, saying that he continues to experience moderate symptoms. And people look at that phrase "moderate" yesterday, and I'm not sure it means what it sounds like. The range is mild, moderate, and severe. So you can be moderate and still feel quite uncomfortable. And in fact, this continues to say the governor feels unwell. It sounds like the monoclonal antibody treatment that he took went pretty well. He took another PCR test. So the course of this, he was feeling sort of scratchy throat and stuff yesterday morning, I guess, and took a rapid test, and it came back negative. And then he took a better test and got the results pretty quickly, and it came back positive. That positive again on a second test. So not the level of detail that we initially got, and the governor's chief of staff, Brian Abraham, was pretty straightforward, and honestly sounded worried about the governor. I guess you would be. So I don't know to that level of detail as we did earlier in the day, but you sure hope he's on the mend.
I certainly wish him well. Let's be brutally honest. He's overweight. He has some comorbidities, I think. He's aging. I mean, none of which is different than me, but so I don't mean that in a critical way, but those things all can impact how he handles COVID. The good news is he's been vaccinated and boosted, and he is getting good treatment. But I got to tell you, when he first announced in his press release, the phrase he used in his press release, "I am extremely unwell," or "I feel extremely unwell," that made me nervous. As usually you try and sort of downplay it a little bit if you're doing a press release from an elected official. Well, I'm feeling some symptoms, but I'm working through it. But I feel extremely unwell. Sounded to me like it really was seriously bothering him. And Brian Abraham yesterday on Talkline, you're right, he sounded like he was really concerned for the governor.
Yeah, the governor is not one to acknowledge, not feeling good. He often talks about, I don't go on vacation. I never take a sick day. Nobody works harder than me. And often that's when he's defending his desire to coach basketball. But, that I never take a sick day is part of what he says. And so you can tell that he takes great pride in being able to function and being able to fight off this stuff. But yesterday's first news release described feeling unwell, His blood pressure and heart rate, it says, were extremely elevated, and he had a high fever. So not just a fever, but a high one. And the Chief of Staff, Brian Abraham, repeated some of those points, both on Talkline as well as in an interview with Stephen Allen Adams of the Oregon newspapers, Katie Coyne of the Gazette-Mail, and others, saying he's got severe congestion. The worrisome part, I think, is the high blood pressure, and that he's feeling uncomfortable. So I'm like you. It struck me as very open about the governor's condition. And given the timing, there was really no way for the governor just to kind of fly under the radar. I mean, he had anticipated making these big, splashy announcements all day long yesterday and having a State of the State address. So I think part of what's happening here is, not only acknowledging that the governor is ill, but explaining to the people why he wouldn't be taking part in these things that normally he would have taken great pride in.
I thought it was a little weird watching the State of the State speech being read, but not delivered. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, at the request of some reporter who had a logical question, the House parliamentarian looked up the last time the State of the State was delayed, and it looks like it was maybe Gaston Caperton because of a big snowstorm around 1991. They provided no guarantees that there might not have been one since then, but I don't remember any kind of delay. I mean, I don't know how many average West Virginians really tune in, but it is an opportunity for the governor to gather an audience, to take credit for big deals, to push an agenda, and to have at least a significant audience to make an impact. So you don't take light of giving up that opportunity. But yeah, in the House, Steve Harrison, a former delegate and now the Senate clerk, read the governor's letter that was submitted to achieve the constitutional requirement of submitting an analysis of how the state is doing. And he read it aloud. And I don't know if that was, we're here, we might as well read it. Let's take part in this communal activity. Or maybe he was taking some pity on the TV cameras that were there. All right, let's give him something.
Give him something.
But nevertheless, it was Steve Harrison instead of
it just struck me as strange. I mean, I have no problems with it, no complaint. That's fine. But it was just strange. I watched a little bit of it online. It was like, this just seems, where's the whiteboard? Where's the whiteboard?
Where's the whiteboard and the theatrics? And the governor's style of delivering this address, I would imagine that he's got bullet points or particular things that he's sort of practiced conveying, but it's always off the cuff. I mean, he doesn't even look at notes. It's certainly not on a board in front of him or index card.
Teleprompter. Yeah.
So to have it read in an orderly manner without the sort of justicisms or throwing in some and everything as punctuation, it doesn't feel like the governor.
And everything, yeah. And everything, yeah. And goodness, we always like the goodness there. Yeah, but that is not a criticism of the governor. If anybody were to try to ever read a speech I would prepare, you can't do it. I do it for myself. I do it with my own style. I do it with, misspellings and ellipses and everything else. And so I get how difficult that might be. But, and the governor had to feel, although he's feeling uncomfortable, so he's dealing with that issue with COVID, he had to feel really frustrated. He has these big announcements to make, and he can't be there to make them. But we did have the economic development announcements yesterday. Really, I guess 3 separate announcements, Brad?
Yeah, and any one of them would have been big announcements for West Virginia. And together they're pretty huge. So, yeah, given his track record as, I can get Fortune 500 companies on the phone background. The patient was dead on the table when I walked in. Boy, I mean, it's got to be really disappointing for the governor to miss these, but they're big deals nonetheless. The highlight was this company, Nucor Steel, the worst secret over the last week. but it's going to have $2.7 billion in investments in West Virginia, all told. And again, we don't want to make these caveats because we don't want to be on the line for guaranteeing these things are happening. But if it all comes true, that's the case, and it begins with a big Mason County facility, sort of in that river bottom. It's already flat. It's near river and rail, and so big deal for Mason County. But up in your neck of the woods, there is another likely or possible phase near Weirton that is part of this Nucor announcement. And, the legislature, part of the reason it is not any kind of secret is the legislature had to consider some incentives. One of those is a 50%, half of that total investment, Nucor will get back in the form of tax credits that last forever. They don't ever expire. So that is more than $1 billion in tax credits. The defense of that is, well, if we don't do it, we're not going to get this company, and if we don't get this company, nobody would pay these taxes anyway. And there are some I don't know if guarantees is the right word. There are some safeguards in the legislation. Correct me if I'm wrong. They have to spend a certain amount of money on building these facilities, and they have to hire a certain number of people in order to receive these breaks. Is that not correct? Yeah, it's narrowly defined. It's got to be a manufacturer. It's got to hire at least 500 people within 3 years. There are clawback provisions for some of the money, in addition to the tax credits, which is half of the total investment. So it could be more than $1 billion in tax credits for an investment of more than $2 billion. When Nucor achieves certain thresholds, hundreds of millions of dollars for capital improvements, for building out its infrastructure, West Virginia will throw in another percentage, and there are 3 different thresholds for that amount that could add up to $315 million that West Virginia is kicking in to help Nucor build out its infrastructure. But you're right, there are some clawback provisions that I am no expert on explaining, but if Nucor doesn't meet its thresholds, West Virginia could go after its own money. So those are 2 ways that West Virginia is helping this company, but those who have bought into it and say it's the right thing to do say, well, we're not going to land this company if we don't do it, and we put everything in possible to really be careful about the West Virginia investment.
Although I don't think it's in the bills that were passed, some of the unions are encouraging that this company use. I don't think it's going to be union. It's not going to be union labor, but at least use local labor when they do their work. That's not part of the bill, though, I don't believe. Although Steve White and some others are trying to get that point made.
Yeah, both for construction, which is supposed to be up around 1,000 construction jobs over a couple of years, I think. And then for, if you're a union in West Virginia, you would wish that the workers in the manufacturing plant would be union. The company, I think its stated position is that it's not anti-union, but also I don't think it traditionally has had union shops. There has been, some pushback about, well, if you're located on the Ohio border, you're going to get a lot of workers from Ohio. But I don't know what you do. That's just the case around West Virginia. People go to and from the border.
That's a specious argument. Yeah, that's true. I lived in Wheeling and worked in Ohio for 30 years. I mean, it just. When you're in a border county, you understand that not everybody's going to literally be citizens of the state. So that doesn't. Now, if they're citizens of, Oklahoma, then I think that's where you get concerned. Let's move away from Nucor for a quick second, Brad. There were 2 other announcements. One that intrigued me at least was this Green Power Motor Company. Which makes all-electric school buses, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is pretty neat. Those buses are called BEAST, which stands for I'm looking it up here. You'd think I could find the word beast. Battery electric automotive school transportation beast. And they're these sort of rectangular looking buses that have, electric engines. And they're going to do a lease purchase on a 9.5 acre manufacturing facility in South Charleston. You would sure think that West Virginia school systems are going to be inclined as much as they can to run buses that come from a West Virginia manufacturer. Traditionally, this company has been sort of out west, California-ish, and I think this is their first East Coast operation. But people from all across the political spectrum were excited about this one because it's manufacturing. The last few decades have not been easy to land for traditional manufacturers. And then there is the green energy component of what this company is doing that excited the folks on sort of the more progressive end of the spectrum. So this is supposed to be another 200 jobs initially and up to 900 when after a couple of years pass.
Yeah, I think it's, again, I look at it from that environmental issue, I guess. It's you're right, it's new jobs, it's manufacturing, but it's also clean energy, I guess that we can call it that. So I think that's a really neat announcement. Brad, before I let you go, all right, this has been the big push, getting these economic development announcements made. Should have come in the State of the State with the governor, but he couldn't deliver it. But now we have them. The announcements have been made. There'll be some more talk about them, I'm sure. Does the legislature now switch its attention to more traditional things now that this big economic development announcement push is over?
I have not heard anyone say that there's some big overriding thing. Obviously last year the governor just went on a barnstorming tour over trying to cut the state income tax. Sorry, and I don't think there's anything like that this year. There are other. Speaker Hanshaw wants to do sort of a site readiness bill for economic development. Senate President Blair wants to do something I'm still trying to understand regarding mine reclamation and the state's liability for mine reclamation. And he is suggesting also tinkering with the amount of time people will be eligible for unemployment. I think Mountain State Spotlight has taken a look at that policy. I haven't yet. So there's a handful of economic policies the state is looking at, as well as, the big deal still will be those promise raises for state employees. Right. But yeah, then we're going to have some other sort of things in the area of social issues beginning today. The House Health Committee is looking at a couple of abortion bills just right off the bat. I haven't read them. I got to admit that to you. But one of them is titled something that makes me think it's a consideration of an abortion ban after 15 weeks. And that makes me think, again, I still haven't read the bill. Sorry, everybody. But it makes me think that West Virginia may be considering getting in line with Mississippi, which made its case for that kind of bill before the U.S. Supreme Court, which still hasn't laid down its ruling. There is another bill on the agenda this afternoon having to do with fetal material. And again, I haven't gotten too deep into what that bill is, but what strikes my eye is 1 p.m. on the second day of the legislative session. We're moving right into abortion. So
not surprising though.
Get ready for the day, everybody.
We expected abortion issues to be a part of the agenda from the GOP leadership, so that's not surprising. All right, Brad, appreciate your time this morning. Keep us up to date on what's happening. I follow you on Twitter. Keep an eye at wvmetronews.com, and we continue to wish the governor well. Hope he gets... Hey, real quick question, and it's going to sound like it's criticism. It's not. He says he's quarantining at home. Where is home? Do we know?
I have also considered that point. I think it's got to be Lewisburg, Greenbrier County, and I guess we're talking about his residency issue. Boy, even if he were living at the mansion full time, it actually seems to me like probably the responsible and comforting thing to do would be to go to your own home. I mean, if it were Earl Ray Tomlin, I would probably expect that he'd go to wherever his other home was, Logan or Chapmanville. So I think he is at home, and it sounds like Clay Marsh, the coronavirus czar, is tending to him, although that may be from a distance. I'm not totally clear on that. Also, the governor's daughter, Jill Justice, is a doctor, and he has access to some pretty good doctors there at the Greenbrier Clinic. So there are also medical reasons for him to be where he is. I don't know. I assume Kathy Justice has gone to probably a different room or a different part of the house. Kathy is okay right now. She's testing negative, so that.
And baby dog's okay. And baby dog's okay.
Yeah, and I suppose people wonder. That was in the last line of last night's news release. The baby dog remains okay. I think the governor has other dogs, and I always wonder about them. But baby dog is fine.
That thought ran through my mind again. I'm not criticizing all. That ran through my mind. I read this press release, and it says, the first lady tested negative. She's doing fine. Chief of staff, the staff has been tested. They're negative, and baby dog is doing fine and has a healthy appetite. And I got thinking, those poor other dogs. He does have other dogs. Are they like, whoop, 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 what about us? Whoop, whoop. We're okay too. We're okay too. All right. I'm not being funny, people. I'm not trying to make fun at all. I find that intriguing. Brad, thanks for your help this morning. I know it's your busy time of year. We'll talk to you again in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Howard.
All right. Talk to you later. Brad McElhenney from Metro News. Busy time of year for Brad and Stephen and Mark and all the gang that does the work down there in Charleston during the session. They're up at the crack of dawn, and they're out into the evening hours with late night sessions. And they do it all for you and me to keep us informed. All right, it's 8:40, 22 of the hour. Let's check some Ohio Valley headlines. Tony is here. He's got the morning Mountaineer report for us. I got a couple of other quick tidbits of local news I want to just touch on very briefly when we come back. More donut talk if you'd like to at 304-232-8255 or off the text line at 304-214-1600. We are the Watchdog Morning Show on a Thursday.
Now it's time for your local news headlines.
made. There's Sean McNeil. He's got 29 long-range shots so far this season. That's good for 6th in the conference. Join us tonight. Bob Huggins' show from Kegler's begins at 7. I'm Tony Caridi, and that's today's Mountaineer Report brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
You make 35,000 decisions every day. Are your gambling decisions good ones? If you struggle with a problem with gambling, call 1-800-589-9966 for free confidential support. Do you have a loved one who struggles with a problem with gambling? This 24/7 helpline also provides resources on how to support a loved one who may need help. Call 1-800-589-9966 or visit beforeyoubet.org.
As the world gets back on track, now's the time to look forward and make bold, life-changing decisions. If you're ready to complete your college degree or pursue your master's like an MBA, Ohio Dominican University offers a range of innovative programs that match your goals. And with both fully online and on-campus evening formats available, pursuing your degree at ODU also fits your life. Classes are forming now. Get started at ohiodominican.edu. That's ohiodominican.edu.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tab, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Follow us on Facebook for the latest news, show updates, podcasts, alerts, and live video streams from the Valley's only network dedicated to local, community-driven talk radio, The Watchdog.
Hey there, Dave Weekley here. Metro News Hotline presents what's trending in sports, music, movies, tech, television, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Renowned local and national guests pepper the daily lineup with authoritative insights and commentary on a wide variety of topics from West Virginia high school sports to the financial markets. Join the fun. Every day, Coop and I dip into irreverent discussions with calls, texts, tweets, the question of the day, and the always popular In or Out. Metro News Hotline, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
He has his say. You can have yours. Text us or call us and join the conversation. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Welcome those watching us on our video feed. We had some problems for a week. Video feed was down on Facebook, but we do have it back up and running. So you can watch the video feed on Facebook, on my Facebook page, on the Watchdogs Facebook page. You can also watch our video feed on watchdognetwork.com. Just go there. And we also archive all of our videos on our YouTube channel. So YouTube, watchdognetwork.com, my Facebook page, and the Watchdogs Facebook page, all places to get the video feed. Watchdognetwork.com also has the audio feeds, online streaming audio for each of our stations. TuneIn Radio has audio feeds for your smartphone or your tablet. Your Amazon personal assistant can bring it up if you simply say her name and then say, listen to WKKX on TuneIn or WVOY on TuneIn. And of course, the good old-fashioned listen on the radio works too. AM 1370, AM 1600, AM FM 98.1, and FM 97.7. I always like to remind you that there are just all different kinds of ways for you to listen to us. You can listen, you can watch, catch the podcasts. I call them morning show rewinds at watchdognetwork.com, or use Apple Podcasts to find them. Just search for the Watchdog on Apple Podcasts. But we have all different kind of ways for you to listen, and you don't have to worry about not being able to find us or hear us, because we have just lots of different ways for you to do that. Let's see, we're looking for a mostly cloudy day today. Might see a little bit of rain during the day. And although Aaron does not have it in his forecast, I did get an alert from the National Weather Service saying that we could see some snow showers, just light, I guess, coming. But I got an alert on that from the National Weather Service here not too long ago. Currently 36 at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Actually 36 everywhere. The airport, here at my home studios, and at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Just a quick 30 seconds with each of these two stories that we have been following, and I wanted to give you just a tiny update to each of them. And the first one, the update actually was in the paper a couple days ago, but I didn't get a chance to bring it to your attention here. This goes to that incident in the Ohio County schools last week up at Warwood School, where a 6-year-old, a kindergarten kid, was asked to go to the restroom. Perfectly acceptable request. And the teacher said, yes, you can. Perfectly acceptable response. But then the kid walked out the door, up the street, down Morwood Avenue, across the major highway, up Cherry Hill, was on his way home. The parent says it was anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes before someone saw him walking, took him to a gas station, I think. Police came, took him back to school. That's the incident, you know what we're talking about. We talked about it last week. Parents really upset, I think legitimately so. School board said, the school administration said immediately after the incident it was unacceptable, and they were going to have to take a look into it. At the school board meeting this past Monday, the superintendent, Kim Miller, said that they are going to ask the parents and staff for ideas on how to best keep children safe in school. Now, I think it's fine. I think that's a very legitimate thing to do. Ask the parents, you know, do you have some suggestions? Ask the staff, do you have better ideas? Although it seems to me that there probably should be more than just asking parents, well, what do you think we should do to keep your kids safe? Because if I'm a parent, I'm thinking, just keep my kids safe. That's what I expect from you. Superintendent Kim Miller told the school board, this is from the Morning Intel report, Jocelyn King's byline. I wanted to let the board know we are working very closely with administration and staff members so this will never happen again in the future. If so, we will have additional protocols in place. I'd like to know what those protocols are going to be. For now, she says she wants to allow the local school improvement councils in each of the schools and their safety committees time to come up with some protocols to put in place. Again, I don't have a problem with that, but it seems to me that, I don't know, just saying, what do you all think? And maybe it's more than that. Maybe I'm just reading into it a little bit lightly, but it seems to me this is a bigger issue than just, well, what do y'all think? What should we do? There needs to be some stuff done pretty quickly. What does bother me, and I knew would happen, after Monday's meeting, Superintendent Miller said she could not comment about any disciplinary action, any punishment, because it's a personnel matter. And I get it. I do. Honest to goodness, I do. Personnel matters have to be kept private. But this has become a public issue. It's one I think the public has concern about. And I think that the public needs to know, what are you going to do, not just to make sure it doesn't happen in the future, but what are you going to do to ascertain how it happened this time, and what, if anything, will be done to the teacher who allowed it to happen? And maybe your answer is, we see that there were some reasons it happened, and we're not going to do any discipline. That's possible, but I think the public needs to know. According to Jocelyn's story, Kim Miller said there was no time frame established for the potential disciplining of the employees or implementing protocols. Well, I think it's a timely issue. You ought to wait. Can't take that long. I'm not saying do it in 24 hours, but you got to set a time frame. You got to say, look, by the end of the week, we want to figure out what we're going to do. I don't know. Anyways, I don't mean to be overly critical. I think Kim Miller does a tremendous job, so I'm not trying to be overly critical, but this is an issue that needs to be kept in the public eye, and the public needs to know, how did it happen? What are you doing to make sure it doesn't happen again? And if someone should have done something differently, then what are you going to do about that person or those persons? And I don't like this as a personnel matter. We can discuss it. So I at least wanted to put that story on the table. Maybe the next school board meeting we'll hear more about that. But I wanted to make sure we got that much of it out. You all know that I have some disagreement with the mayor and the vice mayor over some new proposals in the zoning code that they are making, they're recommending, particularly the issue of allowing accessory buildings, allowing your next door neighbor to build some property in his backyard and basically rent it out. The mayor and the vice mayor keep trying to imply, well, it's just for your grandmother or for your parents or for your kids to come home from school. And I get that, but when you open that door, then it opens it up to other kinds of rental property in your neighborhood. I'm a firm believer in single-family residential neighborhoods, which we defined going all the way back in 2001. We created something called single-family residential neighborhoods, suburbia, if you will. I think people who want to live in those neighborhoods want them to be not sharing rental property with somebody next door in their backyard. And so I disagree with the mayor and the vice mayor on that. But the Planning Commission, and I'm a member of the Planning Commission, has been asked to look into this, and I want to take a good, long, hard look at it. And we're going to sit down with members of council and see exactly what they're asking and exactly what the ordinance is saying, and can we look for some kind of, I don't want to use the word compromise, but is there a way to find some more common ground? The thing I want to point out here is at the Planning Commission meeting on Monday night, the mayor and the vice mayor, the vice mayor was there along with the councilman Ty Thorngate, and they are two of the big proponents of these changes, and they explained it. Some of my fellow planning commissioner members were pressing them on why do you want this? What's behind this? And we heard a little bit of explanation of it. But Councilman Jerry Sklavonakis was also at that meeting, and he spoke up, and he said, look, it's important that you understand, meaning the Planning Commission, it's important you understand this is not something all council members support. We on this show talked to Councilman Ben Seidler a couple of weeks ago. He's firmly opposed to this idea. Jerry Sklavonakis, I've had personal conversation with, and at the Planning Commission meeting on Monday, he made it clear he's not in support of this. I know some other council members are not in support of this. The mayor, the vice mayor, Ty Thorngate, strong advocates, but other members of council, not so much. And so it's important that this not be portrayed as a council directive. This is the mayor and the vice mayor doing this. Other members of council not so much agreeing. Where will we being the Planning Commission, where will we come down on this issue? Don't know. Want to get a lot more information. We will meet with the council as a combined body in a month. We will hold a public hearing for people to come and tell us what they think about these ideas. And it's not just the accessory dwelling units. There's also an issue of reducing some parking requirements and some other things. But the point I wanted to make here today, because it didn't get into the paper and I didn't talk about it in the show, Councilman Sklavanakis spoke at the Planning Commission and made it clear he's opposed, and made it clear that other members of council are opposed as well. This should not be considered a fait accompli by members of council. And for the moment, that's all I've got to say about that. Just about 9 o'clock on the Watchdog Morning Show. Next hour, former Congresswoman, author, and Hillary Clinton's sister-in-law, Marjorie Margolis, is going to join us. We're also going to be talking about the Voting Rights Act in Congress. Right now, we're talking about ABC covering the world.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
ABC News.
Okay, Biff, I'm going to, let's do the Capitol report as soon as we get back, because I skipped that last hour, didn't I? All right, let's do that as soon as we get back. I will take a break, because we need to get an extra break in, since we won't have one at half past. I'll take a break after the Capitol report. In fact, just go straight from the Capitol report to a break. And hopefully by that time, Marjorie Margolis will be on, and we'll do her. Okay? Thank you.